Oh no. Hey, boys and girls, and etc. We're going to have some answers in atheism about functional information, perhaps, tonight. What do you think? What do you think, Andrew and Scott?
Perhaps.
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 I don't know what's happening. Yeah.
I think it's great to have more information about information. It's wonderful.
Well, I was thinking about information, and you know what it is? I figured out what it was. Information is a word, right? It's a word that we use to describe a whole hell of a lot of stuff. And being a word, you can imagine that we have a lot of different ways of using this word, right? Like, for instance, we use this word for you and I, the three of us talking, right? We're exchanging information. But then when you think about what is that information, that's where it gets a little complicated. And now Shannon got obsessed with information because they were trying to transfer information through wires and through radio waves, right? So there were problems with the amount of noise that was occurring in these transmission devices. So Shannon came up with, his theory of how to measure information, how to measure noise and all of that, how to measure fidelity. And it kind of went on from there. And now when you went on Maddox's channel, he was raging about something in the beginning. Let's pull that up and see what he was raging about. He was kind of raging at you a little bit, Did you notice that?
He was kind of a little more on edge last night. Oh, sorry, Scott.
I have something for you. Yeah, I have something for you, Speed, real quick. Consider this an administrative duty, but.
Oh,
great! I have to start.
It's buffering. Yeah, this is our new plan for dealing with creationists, right? That we were talking about, basically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there he is. Okay. This is what we're going to do with the creationists.
Oh.
Well, since I'm buffering, that's going to be it.
Oh, can you see that Abu Dhabi's written on the box? So we're going to pack them up in a box. Okay, you guys are trying to talk me into putting holes in the box, and I don't want to.
Oh, come on. We got to be fair here, Speed.
I don't know. Well, yeah, okay. The softer, kinder speed of sound.
Better people.
The softer, kinder speed of sound would put one hole in the box and then stick some gum on it, but bubble gum. Yeah, I get what you guys are coming from. I understand why you want holes in the box, but Jesus, do we have to? Okay. That's our plan. Yeah. And that's what this stream is about, is shipping them to Abu Dhabi because they too dumb to be here. John Maddox, he too dumb to be here. We can't have him no more. We don't want him.
We don't want him no more.
He too dumb. Oh, let's see. God, he's an idiot. He definitely suffers from the whole Dunning-Kruger thing real badly. And he talks like he's some kind of information specialist or something.
He almost talks like he's a specialist on anything.
Yeah. Well, he sounds like Joel sometimes, you know? It's just, my goodness. I also want to get my screen up. Okay, so let's see. Let's see.
We all know
see
that
I think this starts here.
Dementia is it's like
I gotta unmute my site because you guys can hear that, but I can't. Right?
Yes, I heard something.
Okay, yeah, I thought you could. Let me put it together. Production values are us. Okay, now we go.
He's overtaking him at this point. He's now beyond 50% of let's say the downward path. And yeah, anyway. Okay, so down. Well, that was probably a Freudian slip. I was saying downward, but I guess it kind of correlates.
Oh, okay.
Used his last name too. It's true. But okay, so let's see.
He's talking about James Downard and dementia, and you fucking youngins, stop it with the fucking dementia bullshit for old people. Dementia doesn't attack everybody. It's a disease, that some people get. Not that many actually. I don't know. Maybe a lot.
And RJ is he's a walking encyclopedia.
He is. Yeah.
He talks about papers and the information therein that he's got a vast warehouse in his brain, and he knows all the papers that are stored there.
Right, and he's a historian, and
definitely. Really apparently, you can get him talking about Rome for hours, which we need to try to do.
It gets old hearing this shit from the youth, right? Like every time you forget where your keys are, but then when a 30-year-old forgets where his keys are, what is that? Oh yeah, I forgot where my keys were.
It's an answer to prayer because they pray to have their keys found.
Oh, prayed to find the keys. Yeah.
And then it's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Miraculous.
That's not a miracle, that's confirmation bias.
Miraculous shit.
Anyway,
it's just gotten to be kind of a pet peeve. Well, it's just so prevalent in families too. We do it to everybody that's older than us. And it just has to stop. The joke is over. I mean, Christ. Yeah.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about this.
Demonstrates a common misunderstanding about how evolution works. And I guess that's all I said at that point. So that and the whole consensus argument and such. Oh yeah. Pause.
What was your question?
One second.
What were you talking about?
Oh, actually, keep going, and then I'll say something. I'm gonna explain what I was talking about.
What you said.
Oh, it was basically to distinguish between new information and I guess what you could call information that's been varied or modified over time. So, like an example would be a wing being a modified forelimb was the example I gave. So, and I think Kent responded along the lines of. Like a dog growing wings out of its back or something similar to that, which I kind of found amusing.
Okay. So sidebar before we get into all this. So you did that? You
Okay. So now he gets to his sidebar, which is where he kind of gets going.
Yeah. I started talking on that, and I didn't get to share any of my thoughts on the actual debate, which I guess was okay.
Okay.
Now, which debate was this?
Kent Hovind versus Atheist Jr.
Oh, I thought about watching that, but then I saw that smug little smile of Kent Hovind's, and I thought, I can't do that without punching my TV. So
I tried listening to it. The only parts I could listen to is Atheist Jr. I couldn't listen to Kent at all because it was almost like listening to a replay that I've heard way too many times.
It's a broken record.
He did not say a thing new. He's pretty funny. So John gets wound up here.
You do recognize that. Well, let's stress this because email likes to go off on this tangent, and as well. Do you agree or disagree that the raw number of bits is not necessarily relevant in relation to the amount of functional information and whether it is novel?
Okay, so that's that's pretty much all we really need from him. I don't know if we need Joe anymore. I mean, there were some parts where he was extremely rude with you, which I thought were
Oh yeah,
was way
he
over the
was
top.
cussing and
Yeah,
which I haven't seen him do in a while. So
yeah,
that was
yeah. But what he was asking you about is, basically if there's a mutation, we're obviously going to have a different, there's going to be a difference between the two pieces of information. If you look at everything in the genome as information, then you're going to see a difference. And Maddox is making the point that functional information is different from that, right? And so if you go out and look up papers on functional information, you will find that the consensus right now is that we still really do not have a clue how to create that, or how to define what is functional information and what isn't.
Right. That's kind of what I was trying to communicate, which is
right.
If I understand his question correctly, it depends on the context.
Exactly.
Also, guess who's in the chat right now?
Oh no, who's in here? Standing for Truth.
Yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
Standing. We're not. You're not getting the satisfaction right now.
Well, Standing for Pope. Standing for Pope. Okay, so
Anyways,
the problem with function. Okay, so one of the methods that I linked the paper to swamidass, and another guy did a paper on functional information and how intelligent designers are using it. And they basically explored how flawed their idea of functional information was. Now, what they were doing, the ideas, what they were doing is they're using something called MISA or MISA, which is mutual information from sequence alignment, basically. So you look at which is precisely what John was pushing back on. That isn't functional information. That isn't how you find functional information. So he kind of agrees with swamidass on that in that paper, which is, but then of course he's trying to make a different case, right? Which he does later on, that there is no new functional information, right? Whereas swamidass,
he oh sorry, yeah, I was just gonna say he kind of changed it from my question, which was what is new information, and changed it to what is functional information, like the definition of information itself, which I think anyone can understand vaguely what information is, at least, but they're using the term, so shouldn't they define it?
Yeah. I mean, so Stanley, you want to come in here and tell us just one future testable prediction that you made? That would be interesting.
Come in, Stanley. I'd like to continue our discussion. Wink, wink.
Are you? I don't know if I should even bother sending him a link, because he's just gonna tell us that he can't show up for some reason, because he could only show up like at 11 o'clock at night. He's like a bat, or it's like his coffin is still closed, so he's looking at this from inside of his coffin, and he can't come out until the sun sets, I think, is what I'm guessing. Is it like praise?
Maybe he's not Superman. Maybe he's a darker night,
darker version, right? Yeah, you can only come out after like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, we don't want you to melt, Standing, so it would be a problem. Anyway, so this idea of how to come up with functional information. Well, one way to do it is in these protein databases, they have a protein domain database that they're working on, and so what they're coming up with is various domains in proteins. And there are, I think, thousands of them that we've identified, and there are thousands and thousands more that we're going to identify. And each one of these domains would have some function, basically, on a protein. And some proteins have like 8 or 9 of these domains, and some proteins are used in like multiple pathways where one or more of these domains become important, to function. They do something. They do enzymes.
Really integrated.
Right. So that's one way to look at function in proteins, which is which is kind of it's
So I
another
guess my
thing.
question, or I guess my question would be, does that apply to up and down regulation of the genes themselves?
Yeah, that's the other part of the information that we have to look at. And that's that analog information that comes in. But I did a little drawing here. Let me see if I can share the screen.
Yes, the drawings.
The drawings.
We love your drawing, Speed.
Oh, do you? They suck so bad. So bad.
Nah, you can draw better than I can.
Excuse me a second.
I think that's evident based on my icon right here.
Okay, entire screen, window, Chrome tab. We're in the fuck. What? Okay, Michael's iPad. I thought I was using Zoom for a second. I got confused. Oh, that's dementia.
What?
Right? Speed got dementia. Okay, so anyway.
If you zoom down, you find the atom of dementia.
Yep, you'll find the atom of dementia. Let's see. So one of the things that I wanted to do here was, let me see if I need it's hard for me to select the proper color, but I'm doing that.
Ooh.
Okay. So we also have something called, see how good I am at drawing circles? Whoops, I screwed up on that one.
That's okay.
Yeah, anyway. Okay, this is the environment. So this would be at the very beginning of the development of a zygote, right? We have a zygote. You all know I love to start with we have a zygote, right?
Right.
And we have E1, E2, E3, and E4. And so now we're looking at functional. Now we're looking at the kind of thing you were talking about wings growing out of the back of a dog, right? So,
right.
So basically, down here we have the zygote 1, zygote 2, zygote 3, and what that is, that would be like coming from the mother. That would be the entire cell with the mitochondrion, with the nucleus, with the structure, and all of that. And the information down here would be the genome, the blue ones on the bottom. So let me see if I can. So it'd be these. So that's information, and that information is going to basically be used in the zygote, and it's going to modify itself, right? So it's going to make some change, and it's going to be affected by the environment, and it's also going to be affected by information coming, from what's in the zygote itself. So we got information from the environment right here. We got information that is already in the zygote right here.
Right.
And we have information that's in the genome, which is what they're all talking about, right?
Right.
And so it goes ahead and it does some processing, and then it goes down here and it creates an entirely epigenetically modified genome, which goes into the next phase, right? So now we're at the next phase, and then it modifies again and again and again. But to make matters worse here is that at these, with these phases going down the timeline here, this diagram no longer is valid. What I would have to do is, are you guys following me at all? Not yet, maybe?
Yeah,
okay.
A bit. Yeah.
Okay. So what we would have to do here is divide that cell into 2 cells, right? And here we have 4 cells, and here we have, 8 cells. Whoops, what did you do to me? You damn thing. So now we have, 8 cells. Okay. So each of these cells would have their own environment, and they'd have, which, like, sometimes when cells are developing, they have cells right next to them, right next door to them. So you got one cell.
Maybe a good analogy might be, okay, say you have you have a bunch of kids, or a kid that for some magical reason is multiplying. And you have this big chunk of apple pie, for instance, and you're handing out different slices and different size slices of pie to the kids, and depending on how much they get and what kind of slice they get, they're going to act differently. I think would be maybe a vaguely simplistic analogy for this.
But you can see how this diagram actually should branch out this way, to multiple, because the cells in your body are and behave like a evolving population, and they're epigenetically modified along the way. Plus, there are mutations along the way. Every time they divide, there's a I mean, it isn't too bad. If it was, we'd be screwed. But every single one of these slices of the pie, as you put it, has its own environment. It has its own self information, its own content inside of that cell, and it has its own epigenetically modified genome, which may or may not have a mutation or two along the way. So you can see and
oh, sorry. Go ahead. Or you also have to imagine, okay, it's not just apple pie, for instance, it's cherry pie, blueberry pie, and you're giving them different slices, and that's going to determine the mood they're in different ways. So it's so in the same way, you kind of have to imagine different genes interacting with each other through this regulation process.
I like it. I think I'm going to go pink. So okay. Pink. So we're looking for information in this mess, right?
Right.
Like what they're talking about, or what John is talking about, and what these intellectually impaired creationists are talking about is just the information that's in the genome, just that part of it, right?
Right. It's like the tip of the iceberg, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a hell of a lot more to it. So if we're going to define functional information, like at some point out here, okay, this thing is going to create a lung,
Right.
And how it, and a lung is a lung is going to require these orange circles here. A lung is going to require me to draw a few million of those, if not more, right?
Right.
So, and each one has its own environment and its own interface. And now we're talking about how the alveoli form and all of that stuff. But this whole thing, I mean, if we want to talk about functional information, we have to somehow define mathematically what we mean, basically, in this in these slices, because this is the entirety of the information that's going into each cell as it's developing. Now,
you have to quantify it.
Right. So when they say no new information is formed, they are full of shit for this reason. Okay. There is no way that you can make a modification in any one of these three things without having a modification in the phenotype up here, right? So you're always going to have a change. And that is new information, even if it is bad information, and it tends to kill this thing right here, right? So it dies, right? But if it doesn't die...
Kind of flipping a bunch of switches and kind of tweaking how the system operates, basically.
Yeah.
But kind of it's kind of like you're only flipping a few switches out of like a few thousand at a time. So it's not gonna you're gonna grow a big wing out of your shoulder bone, for instance, because that would require flipping more switches than just simple variation can provide.
Right, and it's constrained by what you have, and swamidass kind of makes a case. If we the swamidass paper, which I have right behind me here, he made how did he say it? However, evolution proceeds by sampling around existing protein and DNA sequences. So when you have a functional protein right here, you got a functional protein, right? And we're going to have one mutation. So we have, one mutation right here. Then we're going to have a very slightly different. So we're moving in a protein space. So all of these would be one mutation distant, and this would be two mutations distant.
Right. It's kind of like phylogenetics, except it's branching within the branching, kind of.
Yeah.
Like branching within protein space within the branching of a species.
Yeah. And the thing is that because of the way amino acids are divided into roughly 4 kinds. Okay, there's basically nonpolar, there's polar, there's acidic, and there's basic. So acid and base, right? And there are 10 of these. And I think, let me think. Hang on a second here. I can never remember. There are 3 of these, there are 2 of these, and I think there are 5 of these. Okay, so that's basically how they're divided up, and that means that like these 2 things here, because they may just modify one acid to another or one nonpolar to another, may not have any different functionality at all. So it's not going to have any effect on the gene. It's going to work just as well, right? It may have slightly different, like every amino acid has its own, bumpy shape, right? It may be slightly different, but the chances are that it's not going to make much of a change. Along with that, when we're talking about nucleotide mutations, it's not even going to change the amino acid. So it's not even going to change what's in this space, right? But now, then if you have, you have a protein and you've got let me get another color here. Just grab another color. You've got 2 domains, right? So there's two functional parts of this protein. And then the rest of this protein is, say this much of it's, involved in a fold, and this part's involved in a fold, and a little bit of this is, right? But it is possible to get, it is quite possible that a new domain from just a few mutations, just going to like 2 new amino acids, and all of a sudden you have something that folds up and grabs a magnesium ion right here, right? And that will do something. If this fold matches or binds to some substrate, that will do something biochemically in the cell. And so the point that swamidass is making in his paper is that all of this is, hang on a second, I'm busy erasing. I wish I had a bigger eraser. I do have a bigger eraser.
It's kind of incremental, basically.
Yeah, the thing is, this protein space is gigantic. I mean, it's and we don't know what we're finding out is that there is a lot more functionality here than we thought there was before. We're being surprised. We shouldn't be surprised, because I think this is the reason that life happens. It's because there's a whole lot more functionality in these proteins. And what I try to point out is, let's see, there's my tables from yesterday. What I try to point out is that we have a biochemical pathway. Okay. This particular thing, enhances that, and this thing inhibits this, right?
Right.
And then this enhances or inhibits this. And now we have a not gate, which are, not gates. Those are just gates, right? So
right.
They're almost useless, but they make sense because sometimes you have analog, you have varying amounts of things, right? So sometimes it makes sense to have a not gate. But anyway, so it goes ahead and does something, right? And then there's a slight, like say there's a copy mutation, we end up with another protein over here. I should give it a different color because.
What? You mean like a duplication?
Yeah, a duplication. So yeah, say we have a duplication, and it starts mutating because it's a duplication because we already have a copy right here. Okay, so this duplication doesn't do anything at first, but then all of a sudden it does something, but it's a dead end, so it doesn't make any difference. But then it goes down and it does an inhibition on this, and then it does an inhibition on this, and then somehow it does an activation on that. So now we have a brand new biochemical pathway. Now, nobody, creationists nor evolutionists, know how rich these pathways are, how many there are, and how connected they are. Like in our cell, I'm guessing. Now, this is a field of study that I hope you youngins pick up in the future. Mm-hmm. And that is with the ENCODE project, with all of the transcriptional activity they found, and even some translational activity of this massive amount of junk shop DNA, how much of that goes into pathways that don't do anything, and what do they cost a cell? Like basically the junk shop pathways could cost us 30% of the energy that we produce in our cell, and it doesn't do anything. It's useless, right? I'm guessing it's more along. I'm going to guess 11%. See if I'm right. Check me 40 years. Pull this video up at long after I'm dead, and see if I was right about 11%. But 11% inefficiency in the cell. However, over time and over this extreme developmental pathway, a lot of this stuff is going to make some sort of a change, and that becomes new information. I'm sorry, but it is. Even if it doesn't do anything or go anywhere, it's new information.
Right.
So the whole thing is understanding. Hang on a second. I gotta visit. Go ahead and talk while I'm gone.
I was just gonna say you can have many different binding sites per regulatory element, and you can also have many like enhancers, for instance, per gene site. So you kind of have a lot of docking places, if you want to call it that, for these transcription factors, and the fact that they can kind of branch out and interact with one another, basically, so you can have a mutation and it can find a new binding site, and that causes a completely new change, and that's one way in which genes can become pleiotropic, probably, and affect more than one trait, right?
Okay, I was having a conversation, so I missed everything. So
that's okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping you weren't asking me, Andrew. I wouldn't have been able to help you whatsoever.
That's okay.
Okay, what now?
Well, I was just saying, like, you can have genes themselves, the developmental genes themselves, kind of branching out and communicating with one another, and sometimes one gene will mutate, so now it produces a protein that binds to a completely new site, and that has an effect down the line. And you can probably think of ways that can happen, and for that to happen and not damage the original function of the docking site, basically, because like I said, you can have multiple enhancers per gene and binding sites per enhancer. So there's a lot of room. Like I guess my point is, you don't necessarily even need duplication to have new function. Developmentally, right. Sometimes you just need genes to interact with each other in new ways, basically.
Yeah, and if you look at these different, different tissue types, right? Something that basically some small mutation that creates an epigenetic modification can create a regulatory effect, and it can change basically the development of something. Like if we have a limb coming out of this bug here, and it's got a joint and another limb right here, and then it's got some appendages right here, sort of thing.
We should label this guy. Let's label him A.
A? How about SFT bug?
Okay.
So standing for truth bug. Bug. Okay, it's a bug. Okay. So he starts. So basically, it has that particular kind of a limb, but then a slight modification can change this limb into a longer limb. And oftentimes the same modification that changes the limb will change a muscle inside the limb so that it has a different attachment point.
Right.
So basically now we've got a bug with a slightly longer forelimb, like, yeah, shit, stop it. Like that. And then he's got appendages coming out of it. And this bug just happens to work in a population where there's grass or something, or say we have some environmental change from a forest to a savanna or something that's highly grassed, and now this population will be more favored, right? And then eventually this thing, it could even spit out a new segment to the limb very easily by modifying oxygen.
Segments can be duplicated a lot.
Right. Yeah, the segments can be duplicated. So now it's got 3. So now it becomes more like a walking stick kind of thing that can basically land on grass and not fall to the bottom and run across the top of the grass or whatever the fuck. But I mean, there are so many possibilities. But all of these modifications are new information, even though we've just duplicated something, right?
Speed, their response is going to be is if you're duplicating the segment, let's just say let's just give them benefit of the doubt and say it's like a program. Basically, you're duplicating the segment program for the legs, the leg program, and that's just the that's just duplicating existing information. Well, like I would bet you, like, that they would not say the same thing if, like, give them a hypothetical example of this bug, for instance, and suddenly the limb looks completely different from its ancestors and says, well, how to get there? And it was simply just elongation and say you evolve like a spear point at the end of that limb, that they would say that's new information when they haven't seen the entire picture and all the intermediate steps that could have produced it.
Yeah. And there's, we could have little hair appendages coming out of here, right? So need a brighter color. And these little hair appendages eventually start throwing out they have other little sensors on them, right? As we proceed. And the hair appendages may just be kind of junk features that are in the environment. They may have some effect on the grass, or maybe the ladybugs like the manly bugs more when they have hairy appendages. Who knows?
Yeah, you could say the hair-like appendages eventually become so thick that kind of like keratin. How let's see, what's that animal? Pangolins, for instance. How the keratin in the hair kind of became thicker and thicker, probably until maybe it became so thick that it evolved into these scale-like plates, basically. So maybe in this kind of creature, you could have the same thing, and it could evolve like body armor or something. I don't know.
Right.
Or you can't predict what. Well, I guess you can, but like you can't predict what happens just because it was just it got thicker or it got elongated, for instance. Well, that provides another step toward that direction, and I guess what I'm trying to say is kind of the more steps you take in that direction, the more emergently complex it becomes. Like like each step kind of adds to the complexity of it. So the creationist would obviously say, it couldn't have gotten from there, when each step was just elongating and modifying something and stuff like that.
We use billions of years as our rescue mechanism. Well, that's because that's because the Earth's been around for billions of years, you dumbasses. Go look at a fucking volcanic rock and metamorphic rock and get back to me on that. But anyway, so eventually these little hair things, could borrow like some genes that actually end up with some sensory capacity, and they come up with a modified sensory capacity. There's what is it, crustaceans, like arthropods, insects, they have 6 legs and they're all similar. And there are I forget what it was. There was a really interesting paper, but some of these some of these crustaceans have, for every one of their limbs, there's a different function. Some are used to stabilize while going through the water. Some are used to scent things. Some are used to eat. Some are, I mean, every one of them is different, right? And so this basically this Hox process, right, just goes along and gives each one a new function. Well, then a lot of that was lost, and then insects ended up with 6 very similar legs, that sort of thing. But I mean, but the important thing is, like, okay, out here we have a dog, right? And he ain't going to grow wings because he's long past that branch point, where the birds,
Oh yeah.
Well, but he could.
It's always a possibility, but it's extremely unlikely in the evolutionary.
Yeah, but it is a possibility.
I think Midnight wants in. When should we open this up for discussion?
We can open it up now because I'm kind of done. But I'm hoping I made the point that, okay, all of this is new information, whether it's duplicated or whether we have okay, this accident here where this popped up, where these hairs popped up. I mean, that could well be the same gene that causes the leg to pop up, except that it's in a different part of this. It's in a different part of this pie, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's going to have a different environment, and to predict how all of this works, and to say that it's impossible is just not possible. You can't say it's not possible. It's just
right.
Hello.
Right,
yeah. Hi.
Hey.
So anyway,
I couldn't help but overhearing you talking about my favorite subject, epigenetics.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool subject. I agree.
It is a pretty cool subject.
I mean,
it's so freaking cool that I barely know the tip of the iceberg on it, and because
trust me, there is a lot. Like I look into it every now and then because it is fascinating, and as I've proven to Speed before, I convinced you that that meditation does have epigenetic effects.
Yeah, blah blah blah.
Hey, you know what? I managed to do what Immutable can't. Convince you of something.
Well, you're better at it.
Thank you.
You had a paper. So
Speed, can you take the comment down? I'd like to see Midnight's.
Yeah, right.
We don't want to see him.
Oh, come on! What the fuck?
I think. Where's that comment? Also, check out this incredible video on Deep Dive channel about mimicry in nature. Yes. Wait a minute. Okay.
I'd also like to see if CRISPR's around. We'll see.
I mean, he's always around watching every move.
Oh, CRISPR, Cast 9, are you there?
What I wanted to from what little I know about epigenetics, right? There are these molecules who scan the environment, who scan the environment both outside the cell and inside, and also the environment, like the greater environment. And they're like, okay, well, let's see, the temperature is like 45 degrees, so we need to do something about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like obviously they're not thinking consciously, but yeah.
I'm the only one. Hey, Andrew, I'm the only one who gets a stutter in here. Okay, you need to work on that. Stuttering is my shtick. Get your own.
All right.
But no. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's always it's really interesting how how those same scanners can also emit signals. You know what I mean? Because I've always wondered this, right? Like why is it that you could have an animal minding its own business, right? Look, hey, look at me, I'm a rat, I'm just minding my own business, right? And all of a sudden you can have like 10 other rats just attack it out of no reason for no reason. Like yeah, they need to eat, but you know what I mean?
Are you talking about LPP's channel?
No, I'm talking about in general. I remember reading. You know what? Let me not use rats. Let me use chimpanzees. I remember reading.
Rats are thugs. So are chimpanzees. They're both.
Well,
thugs.
okay. Can I make a point, Scott? Thank you.
Oh yes.
Thank you. Like no, the point I'm trying to make, right, is that you could have like you could have like a chimpanzee just minding his own business, walking, and then all of a sudden be attacked by like 5 chimpanzees for no fucking reason,
Yeah,
right?
Maddox's channel.
Well, speed. My point is that there's no reason to attack certain creatures. It just seems like they have a fucking like a hey, you know what? Look at me, attack me when they're just minding their own business.
Well,
I'm
tell
saying,
that to little PP.
one at a time. Jesus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, I was just gonna say I kind of disagree and say it's more having to do with like feedback loops and stimuli and stuff like that. But
Well,
I don't know
the
enough
point,
about the subject.
well, no. Well, the point I'm trying to make is that it seems to me that there's I don't know. I just say it seems like there's signals that our body admits that we're obviously not aware of that seem to attract trouble for no
Involuntary.
fucking reason. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's my point. For example, you could just be hanging out, in the cafeteria eating lunch, and then all of a sudden, somebody comes up to you and I don't know, pushes you down. Why? You didn't do anything. You're minding your own business, but apparently you got the idea to do that. Do you get the point?
So how does Lil PP detect that on his channel?
Will you knock it off with that guy? Seriously, you're obsessed. Like fucking hell. But does everyone get the point, or?
Yeah, I think so. So Min, I have a question for you. Did you see anything that went on about what we're talking about last night?
No. I didn't. I watched. Well, sorry, Andrew. I have a life too,
I understand.
But no. As I was saying, I watched some of Atheist Junior's stream, but honestly, I'm so disgusted by Kent Hovind that I just can't listen to him anymore.
Yeah.
Like I try listening to it, and it's like seven versions of evolution. I just get new material, you fuckstick. Jesus Christ. And we lost Scott. Great.
The storm.
Oh, the storm hit. So epigenetic factoire.
And I mean, and also like what I wanted to say, right? It also like, hang on. And the epigenetics also scan the environment to be like, okay, you know what? Because of the environment this way, we need to adapt the genes to encode for this type of creature. Like you know what I mean? Like
okay, but. Okay,
that's like
so
4.
something happens out here. Okay, there's a big glacier. Okay, this is my big glacier coming off the hill, and the little animals are on the glacier, and they get cold, and something happens, and then this particular signal ends up in the nucleus of some particular. Scott, can you? Okay, yeah, you're in. So it ends up in the nucleus, right? And that little signal goes through and regulates a gene, which all of a sudden transcribes, and that creates another signal, and that goes up here, and that makes an epigenetic modification, right here.
Yes.
Okay? So now this cell does something different. But do you know how tiny that part of the story is? This whole thing about the environment?
Extremely tiny, but that tiny
right.
part has a huge effect. You know what I mean? Because the environment. Hold on, because the environment is always changing. You know what I mean? The various chemicals and just the various variable in the environment is always changing. You got the climate always changing. You got the fauna, and you got just everything is changing, right? The environment is always in flux. You know what I mean? So obviously new information will be generated because the environment is always in flux. Like to me, I find
not that big a deal.
I mean, it is a bigger deal. It is a bigger deal in the in an evolutionary sense, not to us, obviously.
No. Like the creationists think that this whole epigenetic thing is going to save them from everything. That the environment is somehow going to control more than it does. I mean, sure, it does control some things. Okay, but those things are carefully decided pathways themselves. that basically like
So
will
who
cause.
did? Well, who's the decider, Speed? Huh? Who's the
Yeah,
decider?
who's the designer, right?
No.
But most
Decide.
most
No. I said decider. You said
Yeah.
decide. Like I was. Never mind. Moving on. I was making a joke about
And
intelligent design.
most
Failed
epigenetic
Speed.
modification.
You didn't get his
Mo-
joke.
What? No, I didn't get his joke because I'm not in that great a mood.
Oh well.
Brrr.
Well.
Rawr.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Well, you could just end.
Go
You
ahead,
could just
Speed.
end the stream and go to sleep. I don't know.
I'm
Grumpy.
going to. Anyway, I'm grumpy. Okay, so most of what happens is not about the environment, not about outside, not about an organism changing to adapt to its environment epigenetically. That is a tough thing to do for an organism. It's not. There are a lot of signals, but that is not the biggest part of the picture here. The biggest part of the picture with epigenetics is what I showed you over here, where you have all of these different pieces of information. The environment certainly has an effect, but most of the environment happens to be what cell is next to you. Okay, there's another cell next to you, and somehow a signal gets in here and modifies a part of the genome and
Right.
becomes a different tissue type. Now that is the big story to epigenetics. So what I'm pushing back against here is this idea that the common man has that epigenetics, can change all these things inside of us. No, it would be like walking an elephant with a noodle.
I mean, I showed you that you're kind of wrong about that, but all right.
Well, no, you're going to find epigenetic effects. You're going to find things that you can, that do have an effect, but it is like walking an elephant with a noodle. It's not going to turn one dog into another kind of dog based on his environment. That isn't what happened.
Well, I mean, I'm honest. I mean, I'm obviously not. I'm obviously not becoming a fucking changeling. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we do have some control over over how our genes are expressed. Like the environment, the epigenome adapts to the environment, right? If you're in a stressful environment, obviously you're gonna have like proteins that encode for fight or flight. This is this is stuff that's been known for years. Speed. Like I know you're saying that the environment only has like a little effect, but you also have to account that that the cells that one cell affecting the other cell is also itself being affected by the environment. So those little changes accumulate. Speed. Sorry, I'm just being snarky.
Okay. I'm just pointing out that epigenetics is not the big, we're going to adapt to the environment.
I think if correct me if I'm getting this wrong, but I think Midnight, you're talking about how we react to the environment. Speed is talking about if the environment, if organisms can will themselves to change based on the environment. Am I getting that right?
Yeah.
I think. Okay. Look.
We don't want to.
I know.
We don't want to get Lamarckian.
Look, I know. God damn it! There's so much to unpack in these fucking discussions. Like, I get what you're saying, but I'm also saying that you're kind of wrong. You know what I mean?
Nope. I'm kind of right. But
well, okay, whatever.
Okay.
I'm right. I'm right to push back on the idea, right? Because
my only real understanding of epigenetics comes from one example, and that's a study they did where they found if one generation, this was in human populations, if one generation had a very bad year, had a famine or whatever situation, a couple of generations down, the offspring, the children and grandchildren were going to be slightly tending towards obesity because they're going to hold more fat.
Yeah, it's actually interesting you bring that up, because there are some cases where what happens to one generation affects the other. You know what I mean? Normally when the sperm and the egg are being created, and correct me if I'm wrong, the epigenetic marks are removed, right? I think either 70% or 30% of genetic marks are removed. You know what I mean? So you have, for lack of a better term, you have a fresh coating of paint basically for DNA. You know what I mean? That's why things like intelligence are not really. There is some effect on on like on the child, but not too much. You know what I mean? It just depends. But hey, you know what? Epigenetics, nice.
Let's not get our undies in a bunch over epigenetics. It doesn't have a hell of a lot to do. It has so little to do with the lifetime environment of the organism and changes that end up being passed down 1 or 2 generations.
I mean, I disagree. I just literally disagree with that. But let's move on.
Okay, it's going to make some change in your body, but of course, if I, for instance, if I put on a scary mask and jump up in front of you, that's going to make a change in your body, but that's not necessarily epigenetic, right?
Yes, it literally is.
No, it literally isn't. Basically, I
literally showed you the paper.
I just scared you into anal relaxation.
You scared
you into anal relaxation, and then the effect's going to go away.
Speed versus midnight.
Look,
right,
look. Okay, look. I love to learn, and I do accept criticism, and despite some people, whatever. But when I'm confident about something, I will argue it. Like I will argue it stubbornly. Okay. Like I know I'm right about this. I may be wrong for a little bit, but I know I'm right about it. Okay.
Okay, let's okay, this is counselor speed now. Why is it so important for you for this epigenetic thing to be something where you can make great changes in yourself?
I mean, speed, that question should be obvious to you. I don't need to answer it.
I know. And it's like, there's some things you can do, and you showed me a path where meditation can actually change cortisone levels, and that's going to change. It's actually going to make long-lasting changes in your brain. And we've known for a long time that if you put a baby, a little tiny baby, in an environment where all of a sudden you're snatching them up and running out of the house, and there's fires, and you're screaming, there are gunshots and whatever, that baby for the rest of its life will have low serotonin levels and be more impulsive because of epigenetic modifications.
Right, but my point, my point is that you can actually reverse some of that damage. Speed. But anyways, go on with the book. Sorry,
I don't think you can.
Okay, well that's cool. Whatever. Moving on.
Yeah, you might be able to. You might be able to change
with you all day.
Okay, you might be able to change something else. But I think those particular neurons, the ship has sailed on that path of development.
I mean, if you keep
and the child's always going to have a problem.
If you keep believing that, then yeah, it's never going to happen.
If we just believe, we just gotta believe.
Okay, moving on.
Anyway, what I want to point out is that most of epigenetics no longer means the environment makes changes in your genome and their path. I mean that ship sailed a long time ago. Epigenetics now is about development mostly, and it's basically how your body works through epigenetics. It's why you have different tissue types and things like that. And that's all epigenetics. But it's a much wider field. And I just don't like seeing this pop idea of modifying ourselves, by thinking. Yeah,
because it's so scary, isn't it? It's really frightening, isn't it?
It's horrifying to me that I may be able to improve my brain by working on it.
Wow, speed.
I told you I'm in a bad mood.
Okay, look. I need to say something. I'm sorry I'm being an asshole. I'm sorry I'm being an asshole about this. I'm very passionate about this topic, even though I don't know a whole lot about it.
Yeah, we understand. Okay,
all
read
right.
this book.
Andrew has a question. Andrew has
read the
question.
book. What?
Well, if you could send me the book, I will.
Well, I was just gonna say, Speed, if you can check the private chat.
Oh,
I will do that, considering I'm Speed.
Did you email CRISPR yet?
I mean, you weren't supposed to read that out loud, but okay.
Oh,
it was a script.
That's why it's in the private chat, Speed. What the fuck?
Okay, let me keep reading private chat. Is standing for truth as big a tool as we think he is? Who said that? Yes. Okay. Did John Maddox hit the room last night? What were the other private chats? I'm sharing private chats with everybody. I don't believe in private chats.
Well, you know what? I'm only seeing one private chat because I just came in. So, okay, you're probably seeing more. But you know what, Speed, honey? Can I have this book, please?
No.
Working on it midnight.
You mean you
Thanks,
want him to leave it to you in his will?
What's that?
Yes, I want
You
all
want
these
him to leave it
books.
to you in his will? Okay.
Yes, I want
Yeah,
all these
okay.
books.
Speed.
Hold on.
Every last one of them.
Slitting my wrist right now, so you
No,
know.
I don't want you
No.
to kill yourself.
Well,
That
it
doesn't work.
isn't enough just to will it to you, right? If you want the book, I got to do more than that.
You completely misunderstood what I said, but whatever. Moving on.
I've got to off myself. I mean, what the fuck, you know?
When this just got dark.
I mean, you know, Andrew, where the fuck have you been? It's always Duck when he says goodbye, cruel world. I've talked to him about this before. Okay, it's fine. I hope.
I
I thought
can't
the sun
wait.
was out.
My brother Dave is calling me from Texas.
You have a brother?
What's that?
You're from
I
Texas?
have a big brother, big, long, tall brother. He's very tall,
I mean, is he six? Is he 6 foot?
very tall.
Is he 6'9"?
Not quite that tall, but I think he's 6'3", something like that. He's bigger than I am. He's my
Wow.
big brother.
I mean, okay. Chronologically,
Chronologically, he's 11 years older than me. So
holy shit, he's like 81.
yeah, my other brother would have been 83, the one that died when he was 70. So
Oh damn.
yeah, he was the first. I was a middle child, right smack in the middle. I was the pause child. My mom paused with me for a long time, and then she got started again and created those other two. I don't know what the fuck they were for.
I guess it was such a handful. She had to take a break. God damn.
Yeah, I think so. I kept her busy. That's for damn sure. I'm trying to figure out how the best way to get this book to you is, because let me see how many megabit
Well, hold on. Can't you just upload it to the
31 meg.
I guess
Yeah,
the vault or whatever the fuck the link is. Remember
the Horseman.
Yeah, so the Horseman, and also give me the link to that because I think I lost it.
I don't think I can resend a link to you. You won't come up. So like you got to search. I don't know how the fuck to do that. Let me see what I can do. Anyway, you guys carry on. I'm obviously an asshole tonight, and I'm not even going to apologize for it. I'm just going to.
Well, I mean, well, okay. Look. I had to apologize because I feel like I want to be liked. So, you know, so I have to apologize every time I feel like I actually an asshole.
Like midnight.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. It's just an insecurity thing. I don't know. I'll get over it eventually. You know,
Scott's gonna have a talk with me.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I'm getting HR paperwork together.
Okay.
Speed, we're getting some dry air here. You know what that means?
Dry air? Otangalo's coming?
Some dryness.
Why can't? Well, okay, look. Here's the thing. Like, why can't Standing for Truth come in here? I mean, come on. LPP came on here to defend, to defend himself from you, Speed.
We figured it out earlier. No, LPP only defended himself against the gun thing, and I kind of want to double down on that. I still think he was an asshole about that.
Well, I mean,
he was a real asshole about that.
I mean, yeah, I can see. Here's the thing. Your passion is gun control. Mine is epigenetic. So fuck you.
Well,
sorry.
That's fair. That's fair. Midnight. You mean a lot to me. Fuck you too.
I love you guys.
Oh boy.
Okay, go look in the. Well, okay, no. Let me see if I can send you a link to the Horseman. So people.
Andrew, is this your senior or junior year? I keep forgetting.
'Tis my senior year.
Wow. Are you going to go to college right away, or are you going to wait a while?
Probably.
Wait a while?
The former. Sorry. Probably
okay.
the former.
I don't know. I don't do kids going into college these days already
Okay,
know
I
about
found
protein
it.
folding spaces?
I saw that earlier.
What was
Yeah,
that?
it's like, ooh. I don't know. I'm just amazed. I was telling them in the chat that Andrew already knows about protein folding spaces and stuff. And when I
Okay,
was
where
in
did
high
you?
school, I'd
Barely
never
anything
heard
on
of
it.
that.
Oh,
I'd heard
here
of
it is.
pigs in space, but not protein spaces. So
Huh.
I don't know much about protein spaces.
Thank
Just
you,
Evo
Speed.
Zero.
Yep. Enjoy.
All right.
Cost me
How,
Go ahead. I will take Venmo donations because that cost me about $200 that book, I think.
Holy shit! You could have done it.
wow.
You know what? I need to give you a website that you could just download these things for. Well,
Oh,
never
but
mind.
that wouldn't be morally responsible.
I mean,
You know?
who gives a shit about morality at this point, right?
Nah.
But seriously, textbooks are too fucking expensive.
They really are.
I'm so high, I can hear heaven.
The Answers in Atheism channel does not condone the use of mind-altering drugs.
I'm high on life, Scott.
Is Kafai
Fuck
here?
you.
Is Kafai here? The
Ah,
MDD
okay.
debate is that? Oh, there's an MDD debate going on right now.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's the
know.
one with R.J. Downard versus Otangelo and somebody named Williams. I forget his first name.
Okay,
no.
okay.
Noah's Ark.
I need to ask you, how the fuck do you get on MDD? Like, it seems like they let anybody on there.
Well, first you have to have a pulse, and
Yeah.
if
I
you
mean,
believe
you know what? Hold on.
that
You know what? I can
aliens
check.
kidnapped Bigfoot or something, then you can
You know
probably
what?
get on it.
Let me see.
How long has this been going on, this debate?
65 months.
Long time. Oh,
Joe, for
50,
you, I'm checking if he's around.
53 minutes. Let me
thanks,
just
Nick.
let me gather my phone. You
Sorry,
guys,
I'm on a goal.
Well, no, I know, and that's why I made it my mission to contact the man himself for you.
okay, I'm being really needy right now,
Oh,
but
thank you.
did my information presentation was that okay? I mean, did I explain anything or teach anybody anything?
Yeah,
I mean,
I understood what you were saying.
that's not being needy. That's being insecure and wanting validation. But you
I
did all right.
I need validation.
Everyone
No,
wants
you're
validation.
being a competent teacher because
Yep.
a competent teacher will seek feedback to make sure they're getting through
Yeah.
to their students.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way: you're better at explaining information than immutable. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah, because if you guys don't give me a lot of validation and hit my like button, Immutable is going to get a lot of books.
What?
Well,
So wait, you're going to punish yourself by giving what? I'm still
No, I
confused.
just want you to hit my fucking like button.
Okay, fine, bitch.
If-
No, come on. There's two more people. Please hit that like button.
There you go.
Just
I did.
If
Speed
you want-
is on the
prices
ledge
and
right now. I'm out on the ledge right now. I'm on the
Oh my
ledge.
gosh!
I mean,
hope the
I left
raccoons
him-
pull you in.
I left Christopher a message. I don't know if he's around, but he's online on Discord. Just
Speed,
you
the
know.
raccoons are not going to let you
Thanks,
die.
man.
Yep, no problem, man.
The
Speed,
raccoons have a
if you
squad
want,
with
we can have.
ladders and trampolines.
What was
What
that,
was that,
Scott?
Scott?
I said the raccoons have a squad with ladders and trampolines in case he tries to jump out the window.
Yeah,
Those raccoons want
they
their
would
food.
save me. They would save me. Yep. Oh my god.
Hey, should we have a poll in the chat?
What
Should
pool?
we a poll?
Or,
Oh,
or
no,
like,
hold on.
hold press
No,
press
hold on.
one.
Hold on. I have a better idea. Make a
Press
straw
one if you
poll.
want Speed to jump.
Well,
Press
No,
two.
no, not that.
Fuck, Jesus Christ. We need to tie you down and take your guns away. Holy shit.
I was gonna say, everyone press or type 1 if you think Speed made an understandable and enjoyable
I
presentation.
have a better idea.
There you go.
Hold on, I have a better idea. Rather than that, we should do a straw poll. A straw poll is a lot better. You can get better data from a straw poll.
Well,
Yeah,
that's not as fun.
What was that?
I said that's not as fun.
Maybe, but it is fun.
Oh,
Lori Hayes typing one over and over again.
One. Yeah, it doesn't count.
It's each member of his family. He's got a really large family, and he's got company over.
I mean, it still doesn't count though, because it's still his name. So you could say it's family, but no.
Actually, it's his wife's name, isn't it?
I don't know. Maybe.
I'm working on some stuff here. So Nephilim had a thing on today.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Oh, God, you should have ran in there, Andrew. You missed it.
We have this just in from
Maybe it's still live, Andrew. You still have time.
Invited speakers.
Invited speakers in Chicago University on the origin of life. It is relatively new end of 2020. Distribute to everyone needed, and then YouTube link. I don't know.
So this is where Speed says, I'm going to put it in the description.
Put what?
The link.
Hey, look at the screen. This is Demeter's bulletin that just came in.
Oh.
This is an update from the A-Bio community. Hot off the press.
Oh, my God.
Physical Sciences Division, University of Chicago. Want me to share the screen? I'm going to share my screen just to show it off.
Okay, this is like a YouTube site.
Physical Sciences Division, University of Chicago. Nice. It's good.
Putting that in the description.
Prebiotic chemistry. Origin of life systems, chemistry, John Sutherland. Meteoric delivery of prebiotic organics.
Woo! So
Scott,
this is
you're sharing your screen.
Subscribe to it. I hit subscribe so I can easily find it.
Yeah, you're sharing the screen, by the way.
Yeah, am I supposed to? Didn't I say I would?
You said you would.
Oh,
okay. That is in the description, Demeter.
So what were you saying, Speed, about Neph or whatnot?
Oh, Nephilim has a stream live right now, and there's hardly anybody in there. It's your opportunity to race over there and jump in the stream and watch them abuse you for 4 hours. It would be a real plus if he booted you, if you got him to boot you again.
We have a question on the screen here from Jerry Penner.
Meter is Otandel on the speaker list. Oh yeah, I'm sure he is. I'm sure he is. Oh my God. Can you watch that? Can you imagine the room falling asleep? Right? Oh, okay. I'm going to subscribe to that channel and ring the bell. That's pretty good. Ring a bell. So, can you imagine if Otandelo got up and talked for an hour and a half? How many people would be sleeping within 15 fucking minutes or 5 minutes? They'd look just like that. Who's that crazy Texas Cruz from Texas?
Oh yeah,
will sleep during Biden's talk.
Yeah. Well, you know, Biden doesn't have the most energy in the world, so I could see me falling asleep through it. But
well, the weird thing is, he had a lot of criticism at the end of it, and it's like, okay, if you were that critical, why were you falling asleep? I mean, you think you would have been, a little bit more alive?
Yeah, but make him angry.
Yeah, something like that. Yep. I don't know. Do you think this thing is going anywhere?
I think this living organism we call a stream has entered its twilight moments.
It's twilight. Yeah, yeah.
If we're gonna wrap it up at midnight, have you gotten any word? Probably not.
Midnight? Where is it? Oh, midnight?
You quantum tunneled.
You quantum tunneled.
Midnight? Are you quantum tunneling again? Oh, somebody's listening to me.
I don't know where Midnight left. He's probably over looking at Neff's stream or something.
Oh.
I wonder if Lil PB is going to have somebody's going to have an after show on Modern Day Debate. I wonder who it is.
Ooh, maybe check RJ's Twitter stream or Twitter, whatever they call it.
Well, usually they have, let's
Twitter
see.
feed, because I thought I saw something about an after show last night when he announced that he was going to be in the debate.
So RJ's going to have an after show?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But I thought I saw a mention of an after show, but that could have been late night hallucinations.
Okay, we'll have to keep an eye out for it. But so yeah, so they're and I got to call my big brother.
Here, let me check the channel and see if they put it in the description.
They didn't. I looked. Yeah, it didn't look like any after shows. So maybe they have something in the chat. Nope. Well, it takes James a few minutes to put them. When they announce them in chat, it takes them a while to put it in. So anyway,
I'm back.
Midnight. Real quick, did you get anything yet? Because we're gonna end the stream if not.
No. Christopher generally doesn't respond to me, so bad idea on my part.
Oh well.
You might want to email him. You might want to email him yourself.
Ooh.
hey guys, Amy Newman is going to have. I think she's going to have an after show.
Ooh, I'm gonna check that out.
She's
But
always going
that's
to have an after
discussed
show.
the Kent Hovind debate with Atheist Jr.
Though I don't see
Look,
I don't see anything announced.
I just want to say something. Why go after Kent Hovind, right? He's nothing, right? It's to me, it just seems like you're going after low hanging fruit when you could be going after so much better people. You know what I mean? He's a
Yeah,
what?
it'd be like
He's a palm tree.
it would be like going after like Bozo the Clown on Child Psychology or something like that. You know,
Yeah, it's like go after. Let's see, who's a big, who's a more prominent apologetic, whatever.
So Amy, where's your show? I would link it if I could find it, but apparently shouldn't have it up yet. So
I mean, does Ken Ham have more credit than Kent Hovind? I doubt it. Never mind then.
well,
You know
at
what?
least Ken Ham. No, he seems to be like a little bit smarter than Kent Hovind, but
Yeah, not by much. Like a little. Like,
yeah, we're splitting hairs here. It's pretty tough. Anyway, okay, guys. So let's go out and watch out for an after show and maybe.
I mean,
check
to
with
be fair,
Amy.
he could just be busy. So.
Yeah, it could be. Okay,
Yeah, if
boys
anybody
and
finds out
girls.
about an after show, now I see a thing from Icarus should be this.
Oh, really?
I don't know if that's about the after show or not, but let me take a look.
Well,
Put it in the description so I can find it.
No, that's evolution in the public schools. So that was talking about
Oh,
the Atheist Junior debate or something.
Well, no, hold on. This is this is the after show of yesterday, I guess. But I fucking
yeah, that was
love
from
the
yesterday.
thumbnail. I love the thumbnail. I just love it.
Okay. So she is going to have a live show in a few minutes or a while.
No. In like 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
okay.
Okay. Boys and
So,
girls.
Andrew, do you mind staying? After, or do you got things to do?
Yep, we're going to shoot
I
this in
can
a
stay for a few minutes, and then I want to go see what's going on around the house.
You want to go on Nephilim's town. Come on, be honest. Be honest. Come on. Don't lie. We know where you're going. We know what you're doing.
I mean, not everybody is you, Speed. I'm pretty sure he wants to go see what's happening around the house. Maybe maybe he's got dogs to feed. Maybe he's got homework to do. I don't know.
Raccoons to feed. Actually, I really enjoy when you go out when you take one for the team, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
You always manage to get us content.
Well, I mean, you always yell at me whenever I go on a stream.
Yeah, well, I definitely yell at you, and I do that for a reason.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You have to yell more back. You have to you have to give a little back, Midnight.
Well, okay. Well, you mean like tonight, right? Because I gave you some shit tonight. Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you gave me shit, but Jesus, dude, give them some shit.
Well,
Don't pull
yeah,
a
I give
Danny
you.
on me. Danny goes over there and he it's like, oh yeah, just
Well,
oh,
no.
he opens his mouth and
Look. I'm not giving you shit because I don't like you. I'm giving you shit because, well, I feel like giving
because
shit
you
tonight.
like me.
Yeah.
Because you like me. Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, guys. So I'm gonna shoot this in the head. So
Jesus fucking Christ, man! I'm worried about you. I need to go. I need to call
yeah.
your kids and have them take your
Oh,
guns
boy.
away.
Yeah, I'm gonna get myself. I'm gonna get my 12 gauge shotgun with some buckshot, loaded with buckshot, and I'm gonna shoot this show in the head.
I mean, Speed.
I'm gonna shoot
You
this
know
shit
what?
right now.
You know what?
What?
Fuck it. I'm not. I don't give a shit anymore. As long as I get
Okay.
your books. I'm sorry.
You've known me long enough
Oh,
to know
wow.
that I tend to dark humor. I do
Yeah,
have a
I
tendency-
know. I
Yeah.
know.
My twins made your mom jokes at my mom's funeral. For Christ's sake, we have our whole
Jesus
family
Christ.
is really dark.
Goddamn! If I did that, I'd be yelled at for fuck's sake. Like now's not the time, Phil.
No,
It's
no.
midnight.
It was my fault. I raised them that way. I looked at him and I said, "Well, you may have crossed the line, but you know what? It's fair. This is the way I raised you." So, anyway, okay. Shooting this in the head. Goodbye, cruel world.
That's still. I know you're joking, but that still bothers me for some reason.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
Remember,